But Section 60, which criminalized non-compliance, has been repealed, and there doesn't seem to be a transitional regulation stating that you can still be arrested.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Joe Emilio Show. I'm your host, Joe Emilio. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there's been a lot of confusion around the whole provisional regulations now that the state of disaster has been lifted in South Africa. What do they mean? And I think the most important thing people are asking is, are they law and will we get in trouble for not abiding by them? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I've decided to get Gill Benson on the show. She is an advocate in South Africa and has been looking at these regulations very closely. Gill, thank you so much for coming onto the show and speaking to me. For those who may not know who you are, can you just give us a brief introduction of who you are?
So I'm Advocate Gillian Benson. I'm a practicing advocate at the Johannesburg Bar, and I'm also a Senate member of Action SA. So the double whammy of lawyer and politician at present. I don't want to hear the jokes.
No, okay, I'll refrain from saying any jokes. But thank you once again for coming onto the show. So, Gill, a very simple question. I think there's a lot of confusion at the moment in South Africa. But let's start with a very simple yes or no question. Has the state of disaster officially been lifted?
Officially, yes, it has. But as you know, we have transitional regulations that have taken effect from midnight on Monday night when the SOD was declared to have ended. Other than that, it's officially over. And then it comes to the question of the enforceability of the transitional regulations, which still provide that there will be mandates in certain respects for the jab, which is another issue that requires clarification because at this point we don't know how many jabs that requires. And then we have we still have to wear masks indoors in a public and to enter a public place and at schools. And then we still have various other issues that are continuing.
Yeah, like there's regulations still on the gathering of people and indoor, outdoor, all that stuff.
After tears and funerals as well.
Yeah. So here's the big question, right? And I'm hoping that you can clarify what's going on. You know, Cyril called these the provisional regulations, okay? Can people or businesses be arrested or somehow get any kind of consequence for not abiding by these provisional regulations?
It's something that we're still busy looking at, but Section 60, which criminalized non-compliance, has been repealed, and there doesn't seem to be a transitional regulation stating that you can still be arrested. There is a section, there was some debate yesterday, and I'm busy researching it now, but there is debate that Section 80 of the Act itself, the Disaster Management Act, is a blanket provision that says that if you don't comply with any rules issued, that it is still a criminal offence and you can still be liable to a fine or I think a 6-month term imprisonment. So at this point, and until the validity of the transitional regulations are tested, it would appear that that's perhaps what they would charge people under should they refuse to comply.
I think like an interesting situation that I heard about is a friend of mine, and I won't mention their name, was in a shop and told the manager, like, there's no actual law to enforce these regulations, okay? One, is that a correct statement to even say? Secondly, the response from the manager was, well, it's our policy. It's the business's policy or whatever. Obviously, if it's the business's policy, then it's your choice whether you want to stay in that shop or not, or, be that as it may. So
yeah, it doesn't detract from the fact that if that is their policy, they have a right of admission.
Yes.
So, they can still tell you can't go in.
Exactly. So even if it's their policy and you don't want to abide by it, can they arrest you for it?
Well, that's the $1 million question we're all looking at the moment.
Okay. All right.
But it appears that, yes, they possibly could. Whether a conviction would be upheld is yet to be tested in the next few weeks. And I have no doubt that there will be an arrest or two for people refusing to wear their masks indoors.
And at this point, even if, like, in your professional opinion, if someone did get arrested, do you think it would hold up in court, or is it an argument that you feel, to argue it and to maybe get away with it, or not get away with it, but like to argue that, you know, there's confusion, there's no set A or B. Like, do you think someone could fight it in court and maybe, you know, it would get thrown out?
Well, look, I mean, I'm no criminal lawyer, I'm a civil lawyer, but I mean, possibly I think it would be a valid defense to say, well, they've repealed Section 60 and they haven't replaced it with a transitional regulation. The whole question, though, really, and the starting point is whether the regulations, the transitional regulations, are valid. In my opinion, they are not. The reason for that, and it's a technical debate, but 27 sub 2M of the DMA provides for transitional regulations extending the state of disaster. But it seems to contemplate, and I'm not going to get into the legal provisions of the DMA because it's technical, but they provide for financial transitions, and they certainly don't seem to contemplate the current regulations that we have. So if those regulations are declared irregular or ultra vires, then no conviction is going to be upheld. So yeah, we are preparing court papers. I represent a number of entities and political parties. We are having ongoing meetings at the moment to prepare those papers. We're also going to court for the universities on an unrelated matter to do with the jabs and those policies. So we're very busy drafting court papers at the moment. So I think the next 2 weeks is going to be a fiery time for the judges.
Alrighty, well, I would definitely like to, you know, keep an eye on this story. I think people need to know about what's going on. So I'll definitely have you back on the show, and there's some updates with those stories and the fights that you guys are busy with. In closing, because I think, you know, we got the information. It's a bit of a, you know, it's still a bit of a confusion, but I think there's a little bit more clarity.
So every time somebody quotes me on Twitter or anybody else, the fact that it's our opinion that the regulations are irregular and invalid, they haven't been declared such as yet. So, you know, I think it would be foolhardy to run around asking for trouble unless you want to spend some money on lawyers that are ready to start bringing your bail application for not wearing your mask in the shops. So, I mean, just in closing, I mean, I haven't seen anybody demanding copies of vax certificates yet. So, you know, I don't think that that's an issue as yet. It's also, this is all going to be maybe rendered academic when the amendments to the National Health Act come in soon. I know that they say they want public participation, but it's unlikely that they won't affect those amendments. So let's see what happens. But yeah, no, my advice is certainly not to start demanding that you're going to do your shopping without your mask on.
Damn it, Gill.
No, I'm the first person that is so fed up, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not going to waste my time in the back of a van on the way to the sun.
No. Same here. Look, obviously you don't want, like, why cause trouble if you don't need to?
Exactly.
And look, let's be honest, there are, you know, maybe the big supermarkets are still abiding by these regulations, but there are the corner shops that really don't care. So support the little guys.
And I've noticed it depends which province you're in as well. It appears that the majority of the Karens live up here in Joburg. So.
Oh, really? I thought the Western Cape was full of them.
No, I've just returned from the Cape, and it was definitely far less hectic. So I think the airlines and Joburg are definitely in the lead for Karens.
Nice. All right, Gill. Well, you say you're busy with some legal battles. Is there anywhere people can go to look at these legal battles? Do you need help? Do you need signatures? Please let us know where people can go to.
Well, certainly, Dear South Africa certainly needs some, comments on the National Health Act amendments. In the meantime, we haven't issued the court papers yet, so I can't, give you a link. They haven't been issued. So once those become public, I have no doubt that the clients we represent will be making them available on Twitter and in other social media platforms.
Fantastic, Gill. Once again, thank you so much for your time. I know you're a very busy lady, so thank you so much for taking the time to chat to me and adding some clarification on what is going on. Thanks again.
Thanks for having me, Joe. Have a cool day and happy Friday.
Yeah. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's not what you wanted to hear. It's not what I really wanted to hear either. But let's not forget about the amendments to the Health Act, which are going to have dramatic consequences for the future of South Africa. So please, ladies and gentlemen, I don't care if you subscribe to this channel or not, please share this video far and wide. Let your family, let your friends, let your dog, your pets, whoever, let them know what the situation is. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, stay safe, be kind to one another, and I'll see you at the next one. Cheers.